Thank you, Chris. So I see that there's still thousands of people watching, and I thank you for that. And if I'm catching you right now, and you were just about to tune out to do something else, I want you to think to yourself, whatever that thing was, is it more important than this? Whatever it was. If you're going to pick up a friend, she might be a little late. If you got a show you wanted to watch, you can watch it tomorrow. Unless, of course, those things are more important than basic human rights for everybody. Next on the stage, Katherine Swampy. She's a mother of 5, PhD student. She has her master's degree in public administration, Bachelor of Arts in economics and political studies, management design, fashion design diploma. She sits on several boards, Masquerades Two-Spirit Society. She does a lot of stuff, but I don't want to take her time, so I'd like her to speak on what she wants to speak on. It's over here. I'm the only one.
Do you want your glasses? Nanaskamau, mamotawi mau ki se manito, hai into temtik anochki skau. Nipapakwa niusin, into wow se siwin. Kiam, igay nantawi temtik. My name is Katherine Swampy. I am from Samson Cree Nation, and I'm here to speak as, I guess, an advocate for Indigenous people, for people of color. And I would like to start off by acknowledging that we are on Treaty 6 territory, and I would like to thank Jesse for inviting me to speak here, and for all of the speakers that went before me. I'd like to thank everybody who's tuning in right now. You know, I like to share gratitude before I get into everything. It helps me find my calm. So, first, everyone stay safe out there. You know, there is a pandemic. I guess we found somewhat of a privilege being in Canada and having universal health care. We felt safe enough to come out here and gather. We are staying socially distant, 6 feet apart. Some are wearing masks, and nobody here is sick tonight. But getting back at why we're here. So, when Europeans came to this side of the world, to Turtle Island, when they came here, it was for economic reasons. They wanted to trade. And they came here and they traded with us. And in the beginning, everything was fine. You know, we had a great trading system, a great economic system, where it was beneficial for Indigenous people, and it was beneficial for Europeans. And Indigenous people have a kindness about them. Kise watsawin. It's how you say kindness and empathy, you know. And when we seen them struggling and starving, we welcomed them. We integrated them into our society. We helped them survive our winters, which when you see people out there living in those cold -40 temperatures, I want you to think, how did Indigenous people survive that? Because we did. And not only did we survive that, we helped the settlers survive that. We helped them. We welcomed them. We loved them. And what did they do? Well, they set up governments. They formed governments. Governments that were built on oppression, exploitation, and genocide. You know, they had medical warfare. They had medical warfare, tuberculosis, smallpox, to kill us off. And if that didn't work, war, famine. And if that didn't work, residential schools, sticking us on reserves. And if that didn't work, 60 scoop. And if that didn't work, systemic racism, institutionalized racism. They keep taking our children. Jesse mentioned that I'm a mother of 5. Well, I had 5 children biologically. I am a mother of 11 because I am doing my part to get our Indigenous children out of care, because that system was not built to help us. It was built to enforce genocide. You heard them talking about the children in the streets. Well, that's where they feel safe. They feel safe on the streets, doing drugs, drinking alcohol, because that's where they feel welcome. Because if you would take the time to talk to anybody living on the streets, you'll realize they are the kindest people in the world. They are far more kind than people who are going to church. I get worked up, I gotta send a lot of love to my husband, he's gotta have a lot of patience. I freak out about what women have to go through. I'm a strong female woman, and I freak out, and I get upset, and I get worked up on what women have to go through. I am a strong Indigenous woman, Nehiosqueo, and I get mad and worked up on what Indigenous people have to go through. I freak out, and I have to do something. And of all of the things that I had just mentioned that we endured, resilience comes up. Resilience is in our blood. I was talking to a friend who is a white man almost a week ago. He wanted to tell me about how bad his weekend was because he had crashed his car. And Chris, if you're watching, hey, I'm telling you the story. And he was totally stopped in his tracks because my weekend was about burying my brother-in-law. My husband's younger brother was murdered in Calgary a few weeks ago. And when I mentioned that, he was so shocked and upset that he was going to tell me this bad story. And I didn't mean to overcompensate on tragedy. Oh, tragedy. It's just like, my life is a tragedy. I am a walking tragic story. Let me emphasize a little more on that. My husband's brother was murdered. 2 years ago, my husband's older brother was murdered. A few years before that, my niece was murdered. The year before that, my older sister was murdered. The year before that, my other older sister died in the RCMP station of Musquecheese. And the year before that, my husband's younger brother, who we raised as our own son, had committed suicide. And suicide runs rampant in our communities. But why wouldn't it? When we don't belong in our own country, why wouldn't it? And all week since the protest in the United States have been taken up, I have been getting messages from people who I thought were my allies. And don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of white friends out there who stand strong with me, and I see you and I appreciate you. But all week I had to deal with white fragility because they've never encountered anything hard in their life. So seeing something on TV where they look like the bad guy makes them so sad. And oh my God, they had to deal with this for about a week. And they tell me about it. They tell me about it and they say, you don't know what it feels like. I've been hurt all week long. Well, you know what? Try enduring it your entire fucking life.